Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. It is that time for another episode of Guided by Spirit. I am your host, Richard LaRocco, and my amazing co-host, Miss Pauline Raffaella. How you doing, Pauline?
I'm doing okay. I made it
Doing
through
just okay.
just okay. I made it through the full moon lunar eclipse, and I'm going to ask our listeners how they handled it last weekend, okay? If they were laying on their back like I was. I just want to know. But otherwise, okay, Richard. How are you feeling?
The energy was definitely like walking through sludge. I'm not gonna lie. So if you did feel any of the solar eclipse, any of the energy, and you felt the drain, please leave a comment.
Yes.
Me too, or me, or whatever. Raise your hand or a heart emoji. We actually have an amazing guest today. I am super excited about this. This is going to branch off of what we talked about last week. And this is going to be more of the helping people understand what's going on with their body, how to help and heal on a natural level. And I am super excited for this. But before we get there, let's get to universally speaking and see what we're in store for. What do you
Yes.
think?
So I would love to know how people handled it. Was a full moon lunar eclipse last Friday, and that was in Virgo, and man, was it heavy. And it's really it's helping to push out all those lower energies that we, all have in varying degrees so we can assimilate more light. So if you went through the full moon and you really felt great and I'm going to say maybe there's some more work you have to do. If you went through the full moon and you were exhausted last weekend for at least 2 to 3 days, if you just felt heavy in your chest, like so many of us did, just you were purging very, very deeply. And it's a good thing. All right. It's a good thing because and I'm still not completely like back from that yet. I'm still sort of processing it, but I'm having these moments of like being really perked up and saying, wow, everything's fantastic. So I would be very curious to know who experienced that from last weekend.
Absolutely. And I did put, if you've experienced it, leave it in the comments. And what did you go through? Also, if you have any questions for us or our special guest, which we're going to bring on in just a moment,
Mhm.
please leave a comment. This is going to be a really hands-on about you and kind of getting to the root of a lot of problems and a lot of issues, and about reclaiming your health, right? And moving forward in this 2025 in perfect health. And we're going to
Yeah.
affirm that today.
Yeah. So we do have just two things that I want to mention on universally speaking. So we know that Venus is retrograde in Aries. I talked about that last week. Okay, this is all about relationships and love. And we have Mercury retrograde in Aries. So what does this mean now? Now we know Aries is a fire sign. It is impulsive. It is fiery. It wants to push and move forward. It can be destructive. It can be chaotic. So we've got Mercury, the planet of communication, retrograde in Aries. And we've got Venus, okay, all about money and love in Aries retrograde. Bottom line is, I feel until these as particular these two retrogrades go direct, we could see some heated conversations, some heated things out in the world in terms of politics, money, communication. I'd like to say the communication is going to be loving and kind, but I kind of think it's going to get all heated up, and Mercury is going to, or Aries is going to like fire through Mercury, and some heated conversations and chaos is going to ensue. So keep yourself in the light while this is going on.
How do we do that? Like, what is this going to be? And this is also for me too. I love this stuff. I love learning how to navigate it. Is it, personal, professional? Is it out in the world, what we're going through, maybe even political? What is this, or is it in all aspects of our life?
It's all aspects. It could be personal. Okay, you could find
Okay.
yourself arguing with people that you know. So this is all about review of relationships, your relationship with others and yourself. It's a review of relationship with money. Okay, do you have money issues? Then you have to look at your relationship with money, right? And
Got it.
so, and all about how you're expressing yourself. And both of these aspects are in Aries. So it can get fiery and it can get destructive and it can get chaotic. Be mindful. Be mindful. Think before you speak. Don't just blurt it out. Think before you speak. Say, how do I want to express this? Right? Think before you speak. Take a chill pill, take a few breaths. Try not to be verbally explosive. I
Got it.
expect we're probably going to see that in the political scene. We don't, it may happen to people personally, but yes, all aspects of our lives.
So when does the kind of like when does everything go direct? How long do we got to weather this storm?
So I'll have to look specifically. It's
Okay.
we're in the, and it's going to be into maybe early April, mid-April.
Okay.
It's not
Okay.
forever. It's not
Got
forever.
it.
Just be
Feels like
mindful.
it though.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Sometimes I'll tell you when Mercury goes retrograde, sometimes it's like you got to be kidding me here. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly. And it's an
you
Aries.
got
You can't get a fiery, more chaotic, just potentially destructive sign than Aries. It's fiery. It just wants to plow forward. So
So, for everybody out there, what does that mean? Hunker down, think about what you're saying. If you have to communicate and get things out, try journaling, talk to a friend, do something, but, really self-care, self-preservation are going to be really important in all this.
very, very
Um,
much so.
yeah, I mean, simple things. Great words for every day. Also, yes, Mitch, thank you so much. Sheila put, I felt drained, extra tired, and had plenty of sleep.
Yep.
Girlfriend, you're preaching to the choir. Yes,
Yep. That's
yes.
self-care. That's
Self-care. I mean, it's
yeah.
an important. If you don't take care of yourself, who's going to do it, right? You got to make the time for you. How now. I've been doing that ever since on my road to recovery. I've literally said, no, I can't do this. No, not at this time.
Right.
No, I'm unavailable. And guess what? It feels amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, self-care and getting out in nature. Okay, sometimes just even just sitting under a tree. You can walk, you can just sit, just being in a beautiful area where there's a lot of nature, trees and birds and flowers will be blooming soon. This really helps to balance the energy field, okay, from all the toxicity that's in the ethers, okay, whether it's from the political scene, the systems breaking down, or from computers, from cell phones. Get in nature. It rebalances your chakras and it rebalances your energy field and it grounds you. Very important.
Best things, and I think it's so underrated. And they actually have a name. The Japanese, they would call it forest bathing. And now it's become mainstream and people
Yeah,
know about this. Go to a local park, go somewhere and just sit. Don't think, just observe,
that's
allow.
it.
And I'm telling you, oh my gosh, it is amazing.
Yes.
The You ground yourself. Things look different when you slow down.
Yep.
I'm telling you, the world is so different when you quiet the mind for a moment. It
Yes.
really is. I love it. I call it people watching, but I just observe. And that's it.
Well, those of us who live in the suburbs or even in the country, we have access to that. I have an incredible park here that is just magical. If you're in the city, you may need to purchase a grounding mat for your bed. Down to ground, it's called. Down to ground. It's a grounding mat that you sleep on. It reduces inflammation. It rebalances your energy field. And so if you can't get into the pristine nature sanctuary, then buy a down to ground mat.
And for people that maybe can't afford that, here's a great little tip. Go to the dollar store, buy a foot tub, right? A plastic foot tub.
Yes.
Go to Home Depot, go to Lowe's, go to a garden center, buy some Himalayan crushed salt and
Hmm.
make sure you get some that has no metals added, things like that, right? Put it in there, and guess what? Put your feet in.
Yes.
Sit there, close
Right.
your eyes, do some breath work. Guess what? I don't care. You could be in the middle of, Grand Central Station,
Hmm.
and it has the same effect. Just center and ground, take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to let you introduce our guest. I'm going to bring her on and I'm super excited because I met her through you, Pauline, and she has just been amazing. I've become a huge fan in so many ways. And I just can't wait for you guys to meet her. And I really mean that. I truly mean that. She is just a great soul. So, we're going to get her on when she comes on. She's joining. And she's going to hit her little microphone in the bottom left corner. And she's going to turn her camera on if she chooses or not.
I think she's choosing. Let's see.
Hello, Janice. Your microphone is still off.
She's figuring it out.
Okay, no problem. So, this is really great. And this is going to branch off. We're going to talk about a lot of common health issues. And we got a lot of comments on parasites.
Yes.
And Janice is really going to kind of take this. She's going to talk about some of it today. I'm super excited for this. There she is.
There she is.
There she
Hi,
is.
Pauline.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Hello, Janice. Long time no see. Big hug. Big hug. Big hug. All right, Pauline.
Okay. Welcome, Janice O'Leary, my friend and incredible colleague. So I'm just going to give a little introduction about you. Okay. Just
Okay.
so for our listeners, Janice is she's an advanced clinical training graduate, a master clinician of ULAN Nutritional Systems. She's a nutritional response testing practitioner and is also trained in quantum nutritional testing. She also uses applied kinesiology. And when she tests, and just a little bit of background on Janice, years ago, like so many of us, her health was not great, and she was looking for resources to help herself and her son. And she came across something called nutritional response testing. And she decided to go to that practitioner and learn. And it is from that place that she regained her health. She's helped her son, and she decided to pursue a career in natural healing and all of this quantum testing. And she is a former medical professional, so she's got that background as well. So we've got a big person here today. So much knowledge. Welcome, Janice.
Thank you. Thank you for that great introduction, Pauline. Appreciate it.
You're very, very welcome. Well, we're excited to have you. And based on our show last week, Richard and I we got into the topic of parasites, okay, and how important it is to understand what these things are, where we get them, how to identify them, some of the symptoms and secondary health issues that can arise from parasites. So why don't we start with, what are they and where do we get them?
Okay, so parasites are really everywhere, and they're really almost hard to avoid. They can
Mhm.
come from mosquitoes, fleas, ticks. So not all of them, not all mosquitoes, fleas, and ticks carry parasites, but if they do and you get bit, that's how you can get a parasite. They're also in and on our food, unfortunately. And Richard, I heard you speaking last week about sushi. Sushi's a really big culprit for parasites. I mean, there are videos out there that people put like their sushi, like the salmon, under the microscope, and you can just see like the parasites, the worms just floating around. It's really gross. Um, there are also, unfortunately, our pets do carry parasites. I mean, I have two dogs. I love them dearly, but I don't let them lick me. For that reason, you have to be careful. They're also in our water. You're eating rare meat, walking barefoot. I mean, these are all the ways that, that parasites can enter into our system. And the worse your gut microbiome is, the easier it's going to be to attract parasites because they're scavengers, right?
Yeah, talk a little bit about the microbiome and what that is, because that's the healing piece.
Yeah, well, your gut microbiome, I actually just started doing this. I don't know if you can see this. It's from Standard Process. It's a microbiome test kit. And I just started using this for myself and my patients. And it's actually really phenomenal because it detects the presence of beneficial species in your gut, presence of pathogenic species, and it tests diversity of bacteria and fungi that live in your gut. And then it actually gives you a plan and the supplements that you need to correct this. And then you would follow that program and do this again, I guess, test it again, like in, 3 to 4 months and see where you're at.
So that's fabulous. I did not know that Standard Process has that. I'm going to order one. I'm going to get myself one of those and do a little testing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because then then you'll have an idea of exactly what you're dealing with. I mean, you may have more beneficial uh, flora than non-beneficial and stuff, but you really need to know where you're at and stuff. So that's a really good thing. The worse your gut microbiome is, the more pathogens you're going to attract because they are looking, it's kind of like, rats that find, a dump, there's rotting food in the dump. So the parasites, it's similar. The parasites are looking for an easy meal, right?
A host.
So exactly. So the goal is to really, clean up your gut microbiome, and food is a very big, component of that. Okay. You really have to eat. You really have to try to eat as best as you can. Sugar feeds any of these pathogens, fungus, virus, bacteria, parasites will feed on sugar. And it's not sugar that you're getting from, it's not only, from Coca-Cola or from a devil dog or from candy. How much bread are you eating? How many carbs are you having? Because all of that turns into sugar. How much ketchup do you use? Ketchup contains a lot of sugar. People don't realize that.
Right.
And so your food has to play a very big part in this.
So do you consider yeast a parasite?
So it's a fungus.
It's a fungus, yeah.
It's a
Would
fungus,
that
yeah.
could that get into the parasite category
Yes.
if there's an overgrowth?
Yeah, parasites could also carry bacteria and stuff. So sometimes people that have Lyme's disease will also have bacteria and stuff because the Lyme carries bacteria, and they'll also have parasites. So if you get bit by a tick and you get Lyme's disease and that tick had parasites, you're going to get Lyme's disease and parasites. So it gets to be very, I don't want to say confusing. It gets to be a lot that you have to deal with. I mean, parasites cause a lot of inflammation in different areas of your body. I mean, they can be several feet long to microscopic to really anything in between. And there's so many of them. There really are. So, when you go
And
to
it's real real quick, I don't
Yeah.
mean to interrupt, but before I met you, one of the big things I did, again, trying to remove a lot of the inflammation from my body,
Hmm.
and naturally, right, without
Right.
surgery, without, any kind of anti-inflammatory,
Right.
medication over the counter. First thing I did was a parasite cleanse with a heavy metal detox. And
Hmm.
beforehand, I mean, my stomach was really bad. Even
Hmm.
eating clean, going to the bathroom was a challenge. I was constantly bloated. Noticed my skin sometimes, especially down by my legs, would itch, for no
Hmm.
reason. I always thought it was my dress socks, kind of
Right. Yeah.
going like that, or sometimes breaking out. And I'm eating clean, I'm drinking water, I'm doing what I got to do, right? And I realized once I started this, oh my gosh, all of that started to improve and
Hmm.
change. And I don't think people realize how the gut health, the microbiome is like the nerve center of our bodies,
Hmm.
right? It's
Yes.
that important. People think like the brain, all the
No.
magic happens in the gut. Depression, they're finding
Mhm.
it. And I'd love to even get your thoughts on this real quick. Like they're saying major diseases that we go through, depression, mental health issues are all from sometimes, and not all, okay, not all, I'm not a doctor, but a lot of unbalanced or poor gut health.
Hmm.
Are you finding that even in your practices and your studies?
Yes. Yes. Well, the gut is actually called the second brain. So
Mhm.
all disease really starts in the gut. It does. It does.
And that
And
was
Yeah.
that was something I learned too in when I became a master herbalist. It was all about the gut. That's where it all
Mhm.
starts.
Mhm. Absolutely, 100%. So that's why it's, little by little, you have to really start changing how you eat and really looking at what you're eating, looking at ingredients. A lot of people are eating seed oils, having seed oils, and they don't even realize it. Sugar.
And that's the environment then that parasites like to thrive in. Am I
Hmm.
getting that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Processed foods. So I think there's going to be a big connection with a lot of processed foods, whether it's the deli meats, the chips, the snacks. I mean, I think I mentioned last week they put a Dorito under a microscope and you literally just saw the bugs. And they've done potato chips, they've done candy bars, they've done and these are major brands. I mean, Janice said devil dogs. Who doesn't love a good Hostess devil dog? Like, come on, right? But this is big stuff, and I don't think people realize, are you going to eliminate all of it? No, but are you going to be more aware and conscious? And we're going to get into the protocols and what to do,
Yeah.
but this is big stuff.
You
Janice,
know, when
you
you talk about that other, the Doritos and the devil dogs and the project, and that's not food. That's not considered food,
right.
right? So you have to really start from there. And if you do want to have, I don't know, things like, potato chips or a cookie, there are much better options out there that you can have. Things that are made with olive oil or avocado oil. Um, I mean, I bought those things for my own kids when they were younger and stuff. So there are, better options. But, it's hard with parasites because they're not just in your bowels. So, you could go to a doctor and, oh, I have this pain. Oh, you could say to the doctor, you know what, I think I have parasites. Well, you know what I'll do is stool sample. And then parasites don't show up, and the doctor's like, no, you don't have parasites. And stool samples may not show parasites because they can be in your joints, they can be in your muscles, your tissues, your organs. Um, Parasites create a special biofilm to help them avoid being detected by your immune system. So while they're in your body, they're stealing your nutrients and produce their own metabolic waste, and that causes a lot of inflammation, which creates symptoms for people. the biofilm itself causes so many issues by clogging up your lymphatic ducts in your bowels. And sometimes it can show up as like the biofilm can show up as like clumps of mucus in your bowel movements and stuff. So they're, you know, they're pretty sneaky parasites. You know, they really are. I mean, I've had, you know, I had an interesting case this morning with, you know, I found a parasite. I mean, I've had people come in and it amazes me sometimes when I'm testing them and it's like, you know, I'm picking up, I mean, I don't diagnose or cure anything like that. I'm just picking up energetically, you know, what this is. And, you know, people get better. It's really amazing that people get better and stuff.
Well,
You know,
I think that the things that you mentioned here about food, okay, cleaning up the gut, but also the ammonia smell, right? And
that's the metabolic waste.
yes, that and
Right.
then mucus. And so
Yeah.
yeah, you know, I don't want to get gross, but you do got to check, you know, the toilet bowl and see what's in there because it
Well,
tells a story.
yeah, I mean, you can. I mean, sometimes people see things in their, you know, when they go to the bathroom, they see things in their bowel movements and stuff. There are videos of. I mean, I've seen them of people that do like a nasal lavage, and they'll put like I guess like a parasite you know liquid, and they'll do a lavage, and they're pulling out like string, like it's just amazing, amazing.
And how long, how big is it? They're pulling out the parasite like a worm.
Yeah, very big. I mean, there was somebody that held it up and it was like as tall as her and
That's
stuff. So I
Wow.
mean, yeah, I mean, it's wild. It's really, really wild. I mean, you know, it's kind of amazing, really. You know,
So
there's so
Janice,
many.
what are some other signs that, you know, the average person kind of going about and totally like what are we talking about? Are you kidding me? Parasites. I have parasites in me. The average the most from what I heard recent studies, we have the average of 6 parasites in our bodies at any given time. And that's everybody. That's everybody listening at home, or more, right? And
Well,
all different types.
well, I will tell you that one of the teachers that I had, one of the practitioners who taught about this was very funny, and he used to say to us, "If you have a pulse, you have a parasite." Right?
There you go.
You know, a lot of people think they were, you know, from like the third world countries. That's where you get parasites from. No, not anymore. That's really not the case. You know, some common areas where you might find parasites, sinuses, lungs. You can have like some people have like lung cysts, and they're found to have been parasites. Your brain, gallbladder, liver, stomach, pancreas, small intestine, eyes, your muscles, your joints. So some of the symptoms that you might get with that is anxiety, floaters, itching, especially rectally at night. If you have a lot of rectal itching at night, you probably might have pinworms. That's very common. Mood disorders, poor sleep, skin rashes, stomach pain, teeth grinding is a big one.
Really?
Unexplained, hmm?
Teeth
Unexplained
grinding.
pains, unexplained weight loss, headaches. I mean, you can have any kind of symptom. I had a gentleman come in once. He's been my patient for a while, and he was just coming in to be checked. And he said, you know, he said, I have a pain on my right foot, right on the top of my right foot. He goes, it's a little swollen, it's a little red, but it hurts when I put my shoe on. It's bothering me. I said, okay. I said, well, let's check it out. And I tested it, and it showed up as parasitic energy from my homeopathic test kits. And he's like, no, I don't have a parasite. And I said, well, that's what I'm picking up. I said, why don't we try this and see what happens? And he called me up like 4 days later, and he says, yeah, he said, it's gone. not there anymore.
What did you get? What did you give him? Was it a
I gave
parasite?
him, yes, I gave him, one of my supplements that I use for parasites
Yeah.
and stuff. Eye floaters are also another big indication. I had a woman that she started out with eye floaters in her one eye, and she went to the eye doctor because they developed in the other eye, and she went to two eye doctors, and they both told her they're floaters, and you'll be fine. There's nothing we can really do about them.
Hmm.
But her eyes were so sensitive, she had to like wear sunglasses even in the house. They were like really bothering her. So when she came in, she told me, and I said, okay. I said, well, let's check it out, see what's going on. And I picked up a parasite, and I told her that. I said, look, I said, why don't you try this and see? And probably within, I don't know, I think she called like 5 or 6 days later, and they were 60% better. And within, I guess, like 2, 3 weeks, they were gone. And so sometimes it even amazes me what like what I find. Like somebody may come in with something, and I may say, "Oh, I'm thinking to myself, what's probably this?" No, it's not. So I never know what the body's going to show me. I really don't. Um, but as far as like parasite cleanses go, you do have to be careful because they're not all like created, equally. Parasites are known to harbor other toxins, pathogens, heavy metals. So when you kill off the parasites, it often causes a release of other issues. So you need to take that into account. So you really have to make sure that people's drainage pathways are open and that they're really going to the bathroom every day, hopefully more than once a day, because you want to, detox out your bowel, right? You don't want to really detox out your kidney
Yeah.
and stuff. So, there's a lot of things that you have to consider.
So it's funny because I did not know that parasites an indication could be a floater. And I figured that could be just like a little debris or something. So I'm coming to see you soon, and I have a very mild floater in one of my eyes. So we're going to see what this is.
Okay. Okay.
So we do have a question.
Hmm.
We do have a question from our friend and longtime listener, Marivelle. She said, would you know what kind of parasites they are, or are they all the same ones?
No, I do know. Well, I'll know if they're a small one or a big one, if they lay eggs, if they don't lay eggs. I mean, I have a book here of okay, names here. So a cestode is a tapeworm. A trematode is a fluke. Lots of times people will get like liver flukes. Like lots of times people get parasites in their liver, they're flukes. Nematodes are roundworms. You have protozoa, sporozoa, ropeworms. I mean, there's just so many, so many. But with my test kits, I will know if it's a trematode or a cestode or a protozoa. So I do know that, and I
That's
have like
amazing.
protocols specifically for each one.
Okay. So that was going to be my next question. So if somebody has some of the symptoms that you have mentioned, right?
Mhm.
What should be the first thing? And they don't live near Long Island. They can't come see you, right? What is the first thing that they should start to do?
Um, well, depending where they live, I mean, I can find them a practitioner in their area. We have practitioners all over the country. So, I mean, if they're interested in going to a nutrition response testing practitioner, they could do that. Uh, what I would probably start to do is really start to change what I eat. I would really like take a look at that. Um, Other than that, I mean, if you go to a doctor, you're not going to really find out exactly what's going on.
Mhm.
right? I mean, doctors have their place, they really do, but I don't know if they're going to be able to find, exactly what's going on.
Right. I mean, there are parasitic cleanses, herbs. I mean, I use one. A couple of the herbs are black walnut and wormwood are
Well,
very.
I was just going to say there are a lot of parasite destroyers. Believe it or not, pumpkin seeds are really good for parasites. Papaya seeds, oregano oil, clove, that black walnut hull, wormwood, coconut oil, grapefruit seed extract. And then there's things that you can help, like the biofilm helps the parasites survive. So there are like anti-biofilm properties that you
Mhm.
can use to kill the biofilm, which is like clove bud oil, black walnut hulls, grapefruit seed extract. So I mean, people can certainly start with those things,
Mhm.
stuff,
Yeah, but
and you can, yeah,
ultimately they would need to be tested by someone, okay, like a nutritional response test to find out exactly what they do have.
that would be most beneficial because otherwise you're just really like chasing symptoms. You really want to know, do you have a small parasite? Do you have a larger parasite that's going to lay eggs? You really need to know specifically, what you have, to really handle the problem correctly.
Yeah. And
So
go ahead,
don't
Richard.
mind me. We have people asking, I would love to get a test kit, so we sent them to standardprocess.com. And then let's see, learning more about it.
Well, I don't know if anybody can just buy a test kit from Standard Process. Is that right, Janice? You,
No, you have to have an account.
you have to
You
have
have
an
to have an
account.
account.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
Standard Process is for professionals and it's not for the public. So you have to have an account with them.
So if you
What
saw,
about other things from standard process that you can get? Because I had just purchased this for the adrenal health off of the site too, or even check Amazon
Amazon.
standard process, you know. What
hmm
else, Janice, would you recommend if they don't want to go to a practitioner? What kind of maybe a cleanse? And I know you mentioned some herbs, and Pauline, you and I have talked about this. Is there like a protocol as far as a kind of what to take for that for the average person out there to kind of get going, you know?
Me? Janice.
I actually don't recommend things to people without testing them. So that's not really what I do. There's so many different parasite cleanses out there. The ones that I deal with have been studied a long time and they're recommended by people that I've studied with. So these are the parasite protocols that I recommend and that I use. So anything else out there, not really, I'm not really sure about, and I can't really comment about that.
Sure. So we do have a question for you, Janice. So does a certain type of parasite live in a certain part of the body, like depending on what issue you're experiencing? So um, our friend Marivelle wrote this. So does a certain type of parasite live in a certain part of the body, like depending on what issue you're experiencing? So I guess if that part of a parasite is in the, like you said, kidneys, are we going to have kidney issues?
Mhm.
Or liver, if it resides in the liver or if it's in, whatever it may be, is it going to directly
Yeah, I
affect
mean,
that area?
yes, if you have parasites in your brain, yeah, you're going to get headaches. I would think you're going to get headaches. I think you're going to get make it visual disturbances. You might have mood swings. I mean, just this morning, I tested someone, and this was just so interesting to me. She told me that she had pain on the right side of her jaw, and she went to two dentists and two oral surgeons, and they did x-rays and did all kinds of testing, and they said there's nothing wrong. She said what she was experiencing was she could not drink anything hot or anything cold. She would get like an electrical like shock. She'd get like a lot of pain. So one doctor told her, oh, it sounds like nerve. Let's give you gabapentin. So they put her on gabapentin, which they use for seizures. So I said, okay. I said, well, let's, test the area. I said, you touch the area that's bothering you. And I tested her, and she showed up for a parasite. Now, I thought when she told me she had this jaw pain that she had TMJ. What do I know? I'm thinking, oh, she probably has TMJ.
Mhm.
No, it was a parasite. So I gave her what she needed. And then when I did a body scan, I tested her liver, and I said, oh, no, I said, your liver's a little unhappy. I said, let's see what's going on. And I found another parasite in her liver. And she says to me, oh, that's interesting. She says, because I have a mass in my liver. I said, really? I said, oh, I said, that is interesting. I said, okay. I said, well, you're testing for this. I said, so, I said, I think that you should try this and, get a repeat liver scan, in a couple of months and see. I mean, because I
Yeah.
have like stories of, doctors posting that, masses and tumors and stuff sometimes do have parasites in them. So, you never know. So, yes, if you get a parasite in a certain area, it you will probably feel something in that area. Yes. I mean, like a commonplace, like somebody will have like a lot of stomach pain, or they'll have like nausea and diarrhea or vomiting. And yeah, you'll find parasites there and stuff. So, yes.
This is such
Interest-
incredibly important information because we need to be aware that parasites exist, that we are hosts for them, and we need to understand who to go to, what to do about it. Because I think, and I know this too from my own journey, that this type of thing, parasites gone for way too long, undiagnosed, untreated, can lead to a host of other more severe conditions.
Yes, they can. And they are stealing your nutrients. So sometimes there are people that are very malnourished, even though they're eating and stuff,
Mhm.
especially if they have a lot of parasites, going on, or they eat a lot of sushi. Uh, so yeah, I mean, it really can be very, very detrimental. And sometimes people have symptoms for years and years and years, and they have no idea what's going on. They don't know why they don't feel well, and they get tested, and you know, it's parasites, or you pick up a fungus or whatever. Um, but it happens to a lot of people. It really does.
Yeah. And if can I ask you like some of the secondary issues? I mean, we could we put cancers and other serious diseases in that category? Untreated parasites or undiagnosed parasites?
Well, I have read from different practitioners and stuff. I mean, that they have had patients that have had tumors that have been, dissected or removed, and that there were parasites inside. So it probably can happen. Yes, I would definitely think so. And one of the practitioners that I had that was my teacher, she was a really big chiropractor, and she worked in like women's sports and stuff. She was unbelievable. And she had a patient that wound up having to have heart surgery. And when they, I guess, whatever they did in her heart, when she got the report, it said that there was vegetation in her heart. So the practitioner, when she was teaching us, she said, vegetation in the heart. She goes, what do you think that is? She goes, people aren't growing, palm trees or coconut trees in their heart. She said, it's parasitic.
Well, something's alive in there.
But why they're not just saying that, I don't really know. But yeah, it's kind of amazing.
Yeah,
It
and last
really
week,
is.
Richard, you and I talked so much about really washing your fruits and vegetables and washing everything thoroughly. I use a like an apple cider vinegar and water spray over my vegetables, and let it sit on the outside a little bit, then rinse it well, dry it, put it in the refrigerator. Any other suggestions, Janice?
Yeah, I've used salt and lemon.
Mm.
And I also bought from Young Living their Thieves fruit and veggie spray.
Ah, okay.
So they have a fruit and vegetable spray. So so I also do that. But you can like fill up your sink and you can just put some lemon juice and some salt in there, and just let it, sit for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to really clean everything very, very carefully. You really do. And stuff. And if you're going to eat fish, you have to really, try to eat wild caught fish and stuff. Not guaranteed that there's not going to be, I mean, there might be parasites,
Yeah.
you know, in there. But the healthier that your gut is, the more you'll be able to fight that stuff off,
And the
right?
stronger the immune system, right?
Yes, yes. That's really the goal. That's why you really want to clean up your gut microbiome. That's why I'm excited about the standard process microbiome test kit. I think it's great. I really do. And stuff. I think it'll really help people in the long run, to know exactly what's going on in there.
I love it.
Yeah, me too. Me
Oh,
too.
right. So one of the things I am doing is I am going to put Janice's contact information. If you would like to contact her for, kind of a consultation if you live in the area, or she can point you in the right direction if you don't mind, Janice.
No,
I'm going to post right now in the comments. Reach out to her via email. And she'll be able to kind of like talk to her. I mean, listen, Janice is a wealth of knowledge. I've learned so much from her. One of the first things she says, and I remember, and I went home right away and purchased one. She's like, don't make sure even the water that from the shower head, make sure that you get a filter in there because it goes on your body and right into your system. And I went
yeah.
home and got one right away. And it was, so whatever she suggests, I do. And, she's been amazing. So I really do. Again, it's hard to find people that are thinking outside the box. Do you find that,
Hmm.
Pauline and Janice, that,
Yes,
want to help, not just write a prescription, take it to a box store and say, here you go, and you're on your own, and put a
absolutely.
Band-Aid?
Sure.
I
Well,
think,
we're evolving and we have to learn and start to take responsibility for our own health. And that means educating ourselves in many, many areas so that we can be proactive and not necessarily put our life and our health in somebody else's hands. We have to learn how to take care of ourselves. And there's I'm a big fan of natural healing. It doesn't mean that there aren't doctors that I have that aren't needed, but I am more empowered because I have a lot of knowledge, and anybody can learn. You can start reading. There are classes that you can take to
Hmm.
learn about natural ways to improve your gut health and clean your blood and things like that. And it's really important. And I want to just sidetrack for just a couple of minutes because Janice, because you are such a wealth of knowledge, you were the one who told us about tinfoil, about a couple of other things. Maybe you could share with the audience some of these important things. The water, yes, the water filters, but then there was a couple of other things that you talked about. Where,
You
and
don't
so
want to.
just
You don't
share with
want to
us.
use. You don't want to use aluminum foil.
Yes.
Okay, aluminum foil is like the worst possible thing you can ever have in your house. You need to put parchment paper if you want to cook on something. No aluminum pots, nothing aluminum. It leaches into your brain. It's a neurotoxin. Aluminum is a neurotoxin, and it's really, I mean, it's bad. I think I saw a study. I don't remember the numbers, but when you put aluminum foil on like warm chicken, I, you can't believe like how much of the aluminum foil is leaching into the chicken. And when you put aluminum foil on hot food, when you lift it up, it's black. It's black,
Yes.
and that is going into all of that's going into your food. The other thing is fluoride. You really can't use toothpaste with fluoride. Fluoride affects the pineal gland, and that's also a neurotoxin.
So
Need a
how many
chlorine.
of us grew up getting neurotoxins in our turkeys when it's on Thanksgiving or chickens, right? And you put right and they put the tin foil right on top of the turkey so it wouldn't burn, or the chicken so it wouldn't burn and would cook it. So oh my God, all those hours of the tin foil on top of the bird, right? The meat there, and we're absorbing that and eating that, right? So no more of that.
Right, because when you think of aluminum foil, you have to think of dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, any of those neurodegenerative, diseases. And unfortunately, my mom died of Alzheimer's, and she was the biggest aluminum foil user that my entire life, up until she couldn't really cook anymore. She just had always had aluminum foil. She had aluminum pots, and I think that really, affected her. Also, you should get a shower filter for chlorine, because the chlorine leaches right into your thyroid, and it displaces iodine and causes a host of other problems and stuff. So there are a lot of things that we can, do for ourselves.
Yeah.
And
These are just little tips for everybody to be mindful of, incorporate them all or some of them, and it's taking your power back and for your health, your own health.
no plastic water bottles.
Plastic water bottles is another thing. Yeah.
Very bad.
And
Teflon
even some
pan.
of the and even the ones that have metal inside, make sure there's another big company that had the colors, and it was kind of a thing, and you would walk around with it and you would see everybody walking around because they had to have that new color or whatever. And it was they did find that it was heavy metals, heavy amounts of lead
Mhm.
inside the thing.
Oh
And
my
and
God.
listen, and again, it's a big company. You'll see them everywhere. It was on all of social media. Everyone wanted to be cool in this tumbler style with the big straw.
Mhm.
Just do your due diligence. None of this is to scare people. It's there to educate people, to kind of open the eyes to what's going around and reclaim self-health.
Yes.
And that's what's important. I mean, I did it with no medical intervention. And they had me scheduled for 3 surgeries, gabapentin for neuropathy and pain management, all of these things. And I didn't want to take any of them. And I literally
Right.
threw them away, declined all 3 surgeries, and started my own health journey, which, was miraculous in itself. So again, these are just the tools. Like, we've had Dr. Pina, and we've had now Janice, and we've had, Pauline's a wealth of knowledge. These things are, and these people are here to help you. Um, YouTube, social media, things like that. Educate yourself. It's out there.
Yeah.
It's out there, but your
Mhm.
doctors are not going to tell you because, they just want to, they don't want to cure. They want to move it over. And that's a whole nother story.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
we're not going to get
it's
into it.
not their medicine. So it's not their
It's not
medicine.
their
So
medicine.
we
They don't
want
make money from a cured client, you know?
No.
So we just want we yeah we just we personally, each one of us gets to choose the type of medicine we want, right? And it can be a combination, a healthy combination, so everybody will find that balance for themselves. But this information is very valuable. Thank you, Janice.
You're welcome. You're
you,
welcome. Thank you for
Janice.
having
Thank
me on.
you. And somebody commented, well, thank you for the knowledge and educating us. You're welcome. Again,
Yeah.
Janice's her email is in the comments. Please feel free to reach out to her with any questions. Tell her you heard her here. And, you know, whether you book a session, you know, whatever it might be, you know, Janice's information is there. Thank you so much, Janice.
All
Always a
right. Thank
pleasure.
you. Yep. Take care. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Janice.
much.
See you soon.
Bye.
Thank you. And Michelle, you put $2 signs. I don't know what that is. We're are we expensive and high class or what? I don't know. Anyway, I want to thank everybody. This is really important that we talk about this, Pauline. I think that, you know, maybe we even continue some of this and kind of dive even a little deeper.
Mhm.
But that's great knowledge.
Great information. So I hope everybody takes that, listens to the show again, and you can always listen to it up on my YouTube channel, paulinerafaela.com. All of the episodes are uploaded there, so you can listen at your convenience. Do like and subscribe. It does help to grow the channel, but all of the episodes are there.
Excellent. I love it. I love it. Well, everyone, have a great week. Remember, center ground, hunker down, communicate, think before you speak.
Yes.
Um, here's the other flip side to that, right? What is it? The book, Don Miguel Ruiz, The Four Agreements. If somebody's talking to you, don't take it personal, right? Don't take it personal. Most people are mirroring their own stuff. So don't take it personal.
Yeah. Stay in the light.
Stay in the light. All right, everyone. Have a great week. Thank you, everyone, for commenting, and be well.
Be well.